Will Campbell, is he a guard or is he a tackle? A debate that will be had throughout the 2025 NFL draft process. Ryan, the LSU offensive lineman has been stellar in terms of sacks allowed, the pressures that he's seen, and a multitude of quality pass rushers that he's had to deal with in the SEC. Where are you on him? What is your projection, your grade for LSU offensive tackle Will Campbell?
I mean, he's a first rounder in this class, whether you view him, I think, as an offensive tackle or offensive guard. It's going to be a really intriguing debate, obviously, because of the arm length issues, but he is the most probably just NFL-ready offensive lineman in this class, and I think that there's not enough good ones on the next level, so it's hard to imagine he is anywhere other than in a first-round mock draft right now.
Yeah, him ending up in the first round seems inevitable at this point because there's very limited options for tackles. And the biggest part, if there is a wide range of ceilings, of traits amongst some of these other prospects that we'll end up breaking down later on, he has the highest floor. He is the most refined. He is not the twitchiest. He does not have the craziest length, as you mentioned there. But his floor is tremendous because he is a technically refined player who understands hand usage, leverage to the degree that it helps him win a lot of reps.
Yeah, well, I think that's the best way to put it. I mean, and it's really cliche, but he almost feels like a coach's kid type of player as far as like how he plays the game. I mean, he's got the best hands in the class. I think he's got the best approach in the class. He understands how to play the offensive line position. I feel like oftentimes we'll see a guy that is super athletic, super long, but doesn't understand the nuances of hand placement and foot placement and all those types of intricacies that only happen based upon good coaching and reps. But Will Campbell's a guy that I think day one is going to go to the NFL, whether it's at offensive tackle or offensive guard. And he's going to be able to be there because of his technical prowess. Now, the other stuff is the more interesting debate that we'll get to. But I think from a floor perspective, this is probably the highest floor offensive lineman in the class.
Absolutely. And we just continue to see week in and week out that he has had just lockdown reps. But the problem is here, the weaknesses do show up why he's probably not going to get drafted as the first tackle and why I think that this growing sentiment that he should be playing inside, and I'm starting to lean heavily in that direction after I watched his tape. The length is a problem. There are a lot of times where he is getting beat on the outside against longer and faster edge rushers. That's only going to get harder and worse in the NFL. But what were the biggest things for his weaknesses that caught your attention?
I mean, I think it's the two biggest things is one, that he can't really play consistently outside of his frame. And what I mean by that is that's where the arm length conversation comes to. Because for people that don't know too much about Will, he does have sub 33-inch arms. And when you're talking about a guy that has sub 33-inch arms, it's a very small sample size of successful NFL offensive tackles. I mean, we're talking about like Braden Smith from Indianapolis. We're talking about just some the Luke Gadecki kid that came out a couple years ago out of Central Michigan, and Bernard Raymond that also came out of Central Michigan. Like, it is just a small list of sub 33-inch offensive tackles, I should say, that have been successful on the next level. And the reason for that is that when you're projecting forward to defensive ends on the NFL level, you're talking about the most twitchy and long players on the field consistently, and being able to play on the edge, on an island, one-on-one, having the ability to cut that space down is so important for an offensive tackle. And I just don't know if he necessarily has that reach. And then the other thing, Joe, and I know we've joked about this, we've talked about this a lot already in this cycle, but there is a lack of bend here, right? Like, he plays a little bit upright. I don't think he has the most flexibility in his hips, and he doesn't play it consistently low. And I think that that's going to hurt him against some true speed outside track rushers at times as well.
We'll see what happens with Will Campbell in this draft class. Folks, let us know in the comments, what team do you want to see him play on? Let us know where you think he should be selected, and also hit that subscribe button as well as hitting the like button. We'll catch up with you later.